What's going on, guys? So for today we are going to try to get the pre-runner back in the garage. If you guys saw my last video, you know I had a whole bunch of issues, so it's still sitting on the trailer because I can't get it to start. Alright, so I'll show you guys on this motor. If you didn't see my last video, so basically one of the starter bolts goes right here, and it ended up cracking pretty far up it, which allows the starter to flex and not engage the flex plate correctly, so it just grinds and won't actually start. Whoops. So I got one of these. Basically it's supposed to bolt right there and then bolt to the back of the starter just to help hold it in place better. So that way hopefully it can't do that, and then I can get it at least off the trailer and into the garage, so that way I can weld that crack back up. Also got a new flex plate because the other one I'm sure is ground down from the starter grinding on it. Also got a new radiator. The truck overheats really bad, and I'm thinking it's because of the old radiator that I have in it. So yeah, we'll go ahead and go out there and see if we can't get her to start. Alrighty, so as you saw, we got it running. I let it run for a while, tried to get the battery charged back up so that hopefully it'll start again when I get it home. Yeah, this thing is just full of water. We got a lot of rain the last couple of weeks. It's been sitting here. If you look in the battery box for the winch, and even all the floors inside the cab are just flooded with water. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. But yeah, so try to head back. I gotta see if I can find a battery to throw on the winch, because the winch is what's tying down the front for right now, so I need a battery to get that off. But yeah, that should be it. It ended up being a whole lot easier than I thought it was gonna be to get it started. So yeah, like I said, as long as it'll start again when we get back, then we'll be all good. Alright, so it's the next day. Finally got the truck back in here, and that was a pain. So as you guys saw, started in storage just fine, drove it back over here, started just fine, drove it off the trailer, parked it in the driveway while I cleaned out the garage to make a spot for it because I had stuff thrown everywhere. So cleaned out the garage, hop back in it, won't start, same stuff, the starter just won't engage with the flywheel or flex plate. And so after like 4 or 5 hours of pulling the starter in and out, adding shims, taking away shims, doing anything I thought would work, finally gave up, said screw it. I just had to wait for my roommate to come home, and then called another buddy, and we just pushed it in here. So that happened at like midnight. So while doing all that though, messing with the starter and all that, I realized the flex plate is quite a bit worse than what I thought. I was hoping that I could just weld that crack up on the block and it'd be alright, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So I'm thinking for today we're going to start pulling the motor, which I'm sure will be a massive challenge because I didn't really measure a whole lot when I built the engine cage for this. So the issue is going to be if the heads will clear between these two bars. I'm hoping that they'll just clear, and then I'm hoping that worst case scenario we just pull off the valve covers and they'll fit. If not, I don't know, it'll have to get cut out, and then I'll have to make tabs so it can be bolted in and out for the future. But hopefully it'll just fit with just the valve covers coming off. So yeah, we're going to start pulling the carb and all that stuff. Oh man, this new radiator almost fits perfectly. It's got this little gusset right here, and this inlet hits. But other than that, she looks good. Probably 3 or 4 inches wider than the old one. It might be a little bit narrower, but this one's actually got a shroud and fans, so I'm hoping with this it won't overheat, because if you take a look at this old one, this is the front of it, and I don't know if you guys can see, but just like most of the fins are pretty screwed. And then if we turn it around to the back side, this is where the problems are. So you can see it's been patched there, there. I think a lot of these rows right in here have been plugged and welded back together. There's some other holes in here. This radiator is out of my old race car, which met the wall a few times, which is why you can see where the fan dug into it. So I'm thinking that that's probably the issue for all my overheating. So hopefully this guy will solve that. Man, it just looks so nice. Alright, so we're almost ready to see if this thing will come out. I got to undo the kick down cable and undo water temp and oil pressure lines, and then I need to probably pull the starter, take off the tranny cooler lines. But the only main issue we've got is this distributor tucked way back in here. Won't come out. So as you can see, we had to dent the firewall in just to get the distributor in there, and then once the motor was in, I built the engine cage. So I may be able to jack up the transmission and angle that thing forward enough, but let me get it from the side. But it is all the way up under there. So worst case scenario, this bar will get cut on each side, and I'll just have to weld in tabs so that way you can get bolted in and out. And then the other thing is this main front bar also might have to get cut, and same thing. It'll just depend on if I can get the engine up and over it. So yeah, keep working. This thing is so close. Like, you can see the gear, but there's just not enough room to wiggle it out. Alright, bar's getting cut. Magic. I'm not sure if you guys could see that, but as soon as it separated, both sides went merp and kind of collapsed. And so now I bet the bar won't even fit in here anymore. Oh, the sun's kind of, yeah. So you can see now it's like an inch short because the whole thing squished in just from the weight of the truck on each side. Ah, joy. More things to fix later. Alright, so everything's unhooked, motor mounts are off, trans mounts off, shifter's disconnected, everything up here should be good. These are probably going to have to come off. So this is going to be moment of truth. See if this thing will fit through the engine cage. Alright, so it should fit between these two. It's touching that one, and this side's got a little bit of room, so it should be able to squeeze through. This front bar, I don't know if we're going to clear, and I just realized that the oil filter way down there, I will not clear the motor mount. So oil filter is going to have to come off, and then we'll keep jacking it up. I also forgot that power steering had to come off too. Alright, well that was a ton more work than I had planned on it being. So yeah, so we did end up having to cut that front bar on the engine cage, but we got it out. Here's this behemoth. Yeah, so here's the bar we had to cut. Yeah, I mean it wasn't too bad. What time is it? Yeah, maybe 2 hours to get it out. So not too bad. Yeah, so now I just got to pull the trans, throw in the new flex plate, and hopefully it'll be good. Oh, I also got to weld up that crack in the block. Here, now that it's out, you guys might be able to see it a little bit better. Right there. Oh, I can't see the screen to see where this thing's pointed. Yeah, right there. You can see that crack, and this is where the starter bolts in, so it just lets it flex, and then it can't grab the flex plate, so it ate the flex plate all up. So yeah, you can, yeah, you guys should be able to see how bowed out that is. So a crack on the back side. It feels like a crack on the back side. Yeah, it did. Yep. So it's also cracked right in there too on the back side. So got some work ahead of us. Luckily I have some 70-18 rods, so those should do fine on cast, hopefully. We shall see, but that's my plan, is I'll just weld it up with some 70-18, and yeah, I think that'll be it. Well, I totally forgot that when you separate the transmission, the torque converter just dumps fluid everywhere. Should have just put a manual in it. Alright, so we just got this welded back up. This whole corner actually ended up chipping off. So now I'm just using the torch to let it slowly cool. Just trying to keep some heat in it as it cools down. So yeah, so when you're welding cast, they make special rods to weld cast. I'm not using those. They're actually really expensive. They're like $60 for a pound of them. So what I just ended up using was 70-18 rods, which are, and I dropped it. Yeah, so I just use these 70-18. I don't know if you guys will be able to read it. Yeah, right there. Supposedly they're able to do cast. Alright, so now the block is completely cooled. I put the starter on there. I can't wiggle it by hand anymore, so hopefully that'll be good. Also, I put the new flex plate on. I didn't record that because trying to get the torque converter on and off is such a pain. If you've ever done it, you know that it's pretty annoying to get to these little bolts all the way back up in there. So I didn't record that, but yeah, so the new flex plate is on, and then the starter's back on. So hopefully, probably tomorrow, I'll throw jumper cables on it and make sure it'll crank without just grinding anymore. So yeah guys, that'll be it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Later.